Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. Welcome to the 70th commencement of James Wood High School, where tonight we are celebrating the graduating class of 2020. To begin our program, and in keeping with tradition, we will now have the colors presented by Colonel James Wood, the second chapter, Sons of the American Revolution. The national anthem will be performed by senior choir members Catherine Bright, Faith Havermel, Kendall Pierce, and Ella Schnorr, under the direction of Miss Melissa Legg Mock.
Color guard, halt, right, pace. Present, arms.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Color guard, carry colors. Left face. Forward march, counter left.
Thank you. You may be seated. Well, welcome, mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, extended family, distinguished guests, and most importantly, the graduating class of 2020. I'm Sam Gross, principal, and I welcome each of you to the 70th commencement of James Wood High School. This evening, over 300 seniors who have worked hard to make it to this point will be added to the list that has now grown in number to somewhere in the neighborhood of 21,000 James Wood graduates. As I begin tonight's ceremony, I want to take just a moment to mention a few groups of people that certainly are worthy of recognition in light of the circumstances that we are experiencing today. 83 days ago, on March 13th, we were notified that schools would be closing, and we were suddenly thrust into a different perspective and a whole new set of circumstances. During this time, we have all experienced uncertainties, frustrations, fears, and several other emotions. Throughout this experience, many folks have stood up and taken on challenges for which we had very little time to prepare. Many of you are heroes. First, medical professionals. Thank you to those of you who are working in the field of medicine who care for our community and have put yourself on the front lines of helping us to heal. Police officers and first responders. Thank you for serving, protecting, rescuing, and providing care to those in need. Teachers, thank you for working to find ways to engage your students or to simply reach out to your students in a loving and caring way to let them know that you will be there for them now and when we return. Our cafeteria staff, thank you for serving thousands, yes, thousands of meals each week to our community and keeping food on the table of several of our own. And then parents, how many of you have been sitting at the table with your children, looking over their shoulder as they work through these school assignments, frustrated, helping in whichever way you can to support your child? Without the support of all of these people and groups of people, we simply would not be functioning to the point we are able to right now. Thank you to all. Seniors, as I worked to shape my words for you this evening, I asked myself, what do you to say to this year's class? Is there any consolation for what you are experiencing this year? For anyone that has lost a loved one, there is no consolation and no doubt there is pain. Some lean on their families, rightfully so. Some lean on their faith in God, rightfully so. And some simply look to their neighbor, rightfully so. So first, seniors, the consolation through all of this is that each of you have one of these to lean on. Our community is strong. It's kernel strong. For each of you, seniors, I challenge you to be a beacon of light and to help each other find these strengths and to assist your peers. If education has taught you anything other than curriculum, I hope it has taught you to rely on one another, to solve problems, to collaborate with your neighbor in order to be creatively constructive when times are down, not destructive. Ask your neighbor if you can do something for them before they ask for your help. History teaches us that multiple people working together find solutions in an exponentially more efficient way than one person working to find that solution in isolation. This is the connect, and respect, connect, and do your best. Secondly, seniors, you hold the keys to overcoming this, and my confidence in you is sky high. You now have the tools to get us through, but it will take resilience and empathy. Resilience begins by being confronted with a challenge, and these are definitely challenging times. I recently heard Professor Neil Marin at James Madison University state, life does not begin until you are challenged. When you think about that, it makes sense. When you were a baby, if you had not risen, literally, to the challenge, you would not have walked. If you had not swung the bat, you would not have hit the ball. If you would not have attempted, studied for, and worked on your U.S. government assignments, you would not be graduating. All of these were challenges you had to overcome to get you where you are today. A few of you will likely accept the challenge of making sure that we do not go through this again. One of you will succeed. How do I know that? Because you have resilience, the grit and determination, and you will persevere. Lastly, I want to leave you with this. There is no turning back the hands of time. The clock just keeps ticking. It's very difficult to move forward when you are looking backwards. Sure, you'll look back on this year and wonder, and that's okay, but don't dwell on that too long. I ask you to instead have the drive, resilience, and determination to look forward. I implore you to find that next challenge and attack it head on. I call upon you to make your next stage in life the one where you find your passion and go out and make not only your life a better one, but you make it better for those who rely upon you, your family, your peers, and maybe just the stranger or neighbor who needs you. You've done well, seniors. Congratulations, and remember that colonels lead the way. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce your senior class vice president, who will welcome our guests, Miss Katie Costin.
This evening, it is my pleasure to introduce a number of notable guests in attendance. These individuals have assisted us throughout our journey from kindergarten to 12th grade. Members of the school board and the board of supervisors create the educational foundation that supports all of Frederick County students. I'd like to welcome our superintendent, Dr. David Savine, assistant superintendent of instruction, Dr. Jim Angelo, and assistant superintendent of administration, Dr. Al Orndorff. I also want to recognize our assistant principals, Ms. Shelley Andrews, Mrs. Elizabeth Fout, and Mr. Mike Bolin. I would also like to introduce my fellow class officers. Here with me today are President Alexandra Smith, Secretary Michaela Grumbacher, Historian Maggie Heichman, Treasurer Eleanor Armel, and SCA Representative Laura Allen. As Vice President, it is now my honor to introduce our class valedictorian, Leo Shopik.
Good evening. I, like numerous others in our class, am a rampant procrastinator. This might seem rather strange, as many generally in my position are well-studied model students. A procrastinator's job, however, is to delay absolute gratification to the last possible moment. You see, the 5 p.m. version of me doesn't have any motivation to start, so maybe I'll have the motivation after dinner. Then 8 p.m. me isn't really in the mood either. He'd rather descend to a spiral of Wikipedia articles. Did you know there's an actual activity called extreme ironing that is, quote, the latest danger sport that combines the thrills of an extreme outdoor activity with the satisfaction of a well-pressed shirt? The things you look up to when trying to ignore actual work. Before I know it, everything has come down to 3 a.m. me, who has to write an entire 10-page essay while struggling with forming competent sentences. Finally, the assignment is finished, but there's no real celebration or fanfare. I just feel tired. It's like I've been prolonging the stress to the point where it's ruined any semblance of notable progress. The act of waiting so long pushes back and muddies the thought of a reward to the point where everything, regardless of the wait, becomes mindless busy work. Really, the only quote-unquote reward procrastinators ever feel is the absence of stress. At the very least, there's a clear end in sight. Well, unless you explore the dark arts of negotiating turning in assignments late. But that's a whole other story. The life of procrastinator is one full of riding on the edge. It's one of constant insecurity about what you're doing and how you're doing it. Nothing feels completely right or in place. There's no relaxation, just nagging in the back of your mind and the notifications on your phone that there are more assignments to do. Always more work. Every waking moment feels like one of missed potential. There's no end as long as there's work. What happens then when something occurs to get rid of the deadline? Let's say there's a random snowstorm. No school for a week. No deadlines. What if it's too cold for buses to start? Then what if there's a freak power outage to the point where school can't open? That's a sure way to get rid of deadlines, right? Or this sounds crazy. What if a global pandemic wipes out the rest of your senior year? On March 13th, the last day of school before this started, I didn't say goodbye to any of my teachers. I didn't say goodbye to any of my friends. It was to our knowledge that we'd only be out for 2 weeks and then get to continue the last memories of our final year before the mystery and uncertainty of adulthood. Unfortunately, that mystery and uncertainty came in a way that not only were we confused, but too was everyone around us. My last moments as a student inside the walls of Jameswood High School were rushing to the closet in the band room to grab my instrument and then running out to the parking lot to get out before traffic started piling up. I didn't know this would be anything special. In my mind, March 13th was just a mindless assignment. I had to complete it and then move on to putting brain energy toward that upcoming Monday. Then, when the announcement we all know too well finally came, I, like many others, felt betrayed. Why did we feel like this? The deadline and overbearingness of schoolwork were enough to make us cheer at the announcement of 2 weeks off, so what changed? I ultimately realized that all of us, yes, all of us, had been procrastinating. Not in school, but in our lives surrounding it. We were rushing through the days to the point where we weren't focusing on the individual moments, just the act of wanting to be done with them. We didn't realize this assignment had emotional moments that could have been felt throughout the journey, not just the end. While procrastination definitely has its value and purpose in the case of schoolwork, scaling it up to the unpredictability of real life will only lead to feelings of being cheated and wronged. Our last few months at Jameswood High School will never come back to us, and we have to accept that the assignment is finished. We can't go back and change anything. We're now on to the next chapter of our lives, whether we like it or not. If we continue to procrastinate, we will miss out on our best moments, even if they're only fleeting. This mental change needs to start now. Well, maybe not now. So to take my own advice and not let this emotion-filled moment pass me by, I'd like to thank everyone in viewing attendance tonight for their continued support during these challenging times. I'd like to thank my family for supporting me in all I do, especially with all the aforementioned procrastinatory nights that may have been a bit of a disruption. I'd like to thank the administration, teachers, and staff of Jameswood High School for pushing all of us to become better students and, more importantly, better people. And finally, I'd like to thank my friends and fellow classmates for going through this crazy 3 3/4 years together. I don't think any other class will ever top our senior skip day. Whether you're here 6 feet away from me on the field or virtually in row 118,000, thank you. Thank you for being you. I would not have asked for it any other way. Congratulations, class of 2020. It is now my honor to introduce the co-salutatorians, David Gray and Michael McGeechee.
We just go. Good evening to everyone watching tonight's ceremony. I would like to welcome you to probably Jameswood High School's strangest graduation ceremony, because I can definitely say this is not at all how I imagined things. Here I am speaking to a camera about high school while my fellow classmates are home watching a video. Doesn't exactly scream out stereotypical high school graduation, now does it? To be perfectly honest, this speech is probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to write in my life. There aren't exactly many examples we'll tell your classmates in this type of situation. What do you really say to a class of seniors who have missed out on some of the most anticipated end-of-year, end-of-high school experiences? I should probably begin with some of the traditional expressions of gratitude. First, I am of course thankful for my family, who have always provided me with everything I need to be successful in school and in life. My parents raised me to be who I am today, and that is something for which I can never thank them enough. It is because of them that I am blessed. I would also like to thank my teachers for the past few years, as each of your classes has truly been an experience. Teachers like Mr. Reed ensured that I was exposed to all types of random Bob Dylan music, and without teachers like Miss Snap, I wouldn't know just how much of a research paper can be put off until the last minute. Sarcasm aside, I think many of us owe Miss Snap a huge thank you for her help in us getting into our colleges of our dreams. So for that, I say thank you, Miss Snap. I do want to thank one very special teacher in my life. Her name is Caitlin Gilmore, and she teaches 8th grade science at Frederick County Middle School. Though many of you probably don't know her, she is not only an amazing teacher, but an all-around amazing person. I certainly wouldn't be quite the know-it-all I am today without her, and I know everyone here is grateful for that. Now I think I speak for many of us when I say that as much as we were looking forward to the end of high school and to college, we weren't really quite ready to let it go. We were the babies born after 9/11 and are now becoming adults while the world suffers through a pandemic. If that isn't a story to tell our kids about one day, then I'm really not quite sure what is. I suppose you can say that life kind of forced us all to grow up a little faster than we would have liked. But everything happens for a reason. In many ways, I think we now realize that we have to make the most of what we've been given, since we never know when it all could come to a rather abrupt end. Ultimately, however, the world is still turning, and that means that life must go on. I think we now have been given a chance to get an early start in our futures, something I know many have taken advantage of. For some of us, that is saving for college or getting established in our career fields, and for other brave classmates, that means preparing to enlist in the military. I'd like to take a moment to thank those selfless future servicemen and servicewomen. Every American will be forever indebted to you. I think our generation is now learning to roll with the punches, fully accepting that life throws curveballs at us sometimes that cannot be avoided. All we can do now is adapt and overcome, something I know we can all do because that is just what colonels do. I would now like to introduce Alexandra Smith, our senior class president.
In the immortal words of Jerry Garcia, what a long, strange trip it's been for the class of 2020. Our lives have been bookended by 2 historical events that have changed the world forever. Most of us were born either just prior to or just after the terrorist attacks on 9/11, and presently we are living through the global coronavirus pandemic. 9/11 brought about strong feelings of nationalism and pride. People put aside their differences for the greater good of the country. The book Tribe by Sebastian Junger discusses the premise that humans have evolved to live in small to moderate-sized groups or tribes in which each person contributes and is accountable to the group. Individuals gain their sense of value and belonging based on their service to something bigger than themselves. In Tribe, the author was surprised to learn that many people reported being happiest in the midst of turmoil. Soldiers were never happier than when in the throes of combat, and neighbors were never more content than when helping one another in response to a hurricane. Hard times bring people together in a way that abundance never does. One of the challenges of the coronavirus outbreak is that the solution requires isolation. Where 9/11 brought us together as a country against a common foe, the coronavirus has forced us to distance ourselves from one another. We have been told that we must stay at home to flatten the curve and to save lives. Unfortunately for many, this isolationism has cost jobs and led to mental health issues, including depression. While admittedly not of the same magnitude, the coronavirus has robbed us of much of what we were looking forward to in our senior year. However, while we have no control over government decisions about social distancing or gatherings like graduation, we do have control over how we react to these situations. It is up to each of us to seek the most out of this unfortunate situation, which includes coming up with unique ways to serve one another and to be of benefit to our community. It is often during the most challenging times when there's the greatest opportunity for growth. On behalf of the James Wood Class of 2020, I would like to thank all of those who have served our Colonel community, especially those who have worked tirelessly to maintain our sense of normalcy and purpose these last several weeks. I won't name names for fear of missing someone, but to all of our teachers, coaches, counselors, administrators, mentors, support staff, and parents, we say thank you. We are living through history together once again. Every generation faces hardships, and this is our generation's defining moment. Our class always has been and always will be an eclectic, beautiful group of athletes, writers, artists, and musicians, and the list doesn't stop there. We may not all share the same opinions or backgrounds, but we are strong, we are courageous, and most importantly, we are a Colonel family, and that is something that no virus could ever take away from us. Though we may forget names and faces and reach milestones that seem to surpass a high school graduation, the world will never forget the class of 2020. No senior class has ever faced an obstacle like we do today, but we will show the world that together we are stronger than this virus. It may have taken away the last few months of our senior year, it may have shortened spring sports and canceled springtime traditions, but it can never take away the pride we feel to be James Wood Colonels. Everything we are currently experiencing in our lives comes about in order to assist us in evolving to a higher level of consciousness. Even what we now perceive as bad, sad, negative, or upsetting is here to assist us in seeing life in a more peaceful, forgiving, and loving way. We are the class that will be remembered forever. We are the class that has earned our place in history. Class of 2020, do not think of this as the end of your path. Rather, embrace it as the start of a new and exciting journey. Whether you plan to go off to college, suit up for the military, or join the workforce, know that you have been prepared for everything and nothing can stop you from pursuing your dreams. The world is your oyster and many wonderful opportunities await you. Remember, Colonels, pain makes you stronger, tears make you braver, and heartbreak makes you wiser. So thank what soon will be in the past for your bright future. I now have the distinct honor of welcoming Michaela Grumbacher, our senior class secretary, up to the podium to present the class gift.
My name is Michaela Grumbacher, and I am the James Wood High School Class of 2020 Secretary. This evening, I am presenting the senior class gift. We have worked hard over the past 4 years to raise money for events like homecoming and prom. One of the most important things as seniors is to leave behind a legacy. This year has been a unique experience for graduating class. In light of the current pandemic, which has caused significant economic difficulties for many, the class gift will be used to help the greater community at large. The class of 2020 will be donating $1,345 to the James Wood Refuel for School program that provides nourishment for the students in need so that hunger does not get in the way of academic success. In addition, another $1,345 will be donated to Bright Futures, a program that supports students not only of James Wood High School, but throughout all of Winchester and Frederick County. Now, I would like to call up Maggie Heischman, Senior Class Historian.
Good evening, fellow graduates, parents, teachers, staff, and other viewers. I'm the class of 2020 historian, Maggie Heichman, and it is my distinct honor to introduce an active community member and supporter of both Frederick County Public Schools and Jameswood High School, Mr. Jay Foreman. Mr. Foreman is a John Maxwell certified leadership trainer and coach. He is also an accomplished public speaker and a professional member of the National Speakers Association. His clients have included business leaders, associations, nonprofits, schools, and churches. Mr. Foreman has authored 14 books, including 3 bestsellers, while also working part-time as an adjunct instructor at Lord Fairfax Community College, teaching leadership courses. Additionally, he enjoys facilitating writing workshops in schools at the elementary through high school levels. Mr. Foreman currently lives in Stevens City with his wife Angie and children Kayla and Tyler. And most importantly, he is a 1990 graduate of Jameswood High School. Please join me in welcoming our class of 2020 guest speaker, Mr. Jay Foreman.
Well, congratulations, Jameswood High School class of 2020. I can't tell you how excited I am to be part of this moment, part of this celebration. I was just sharing with Mr. Gross earlier, I'm doubly excited because A, I get to share in this moment with you, and B, as Maggie said earlier, I am a fellow colonel. Just graduated a few years back. By a few years, I mean 30, but it's just like coming home now. So excited to be back here. I'm not going to take up a whole lot of your time here today, but I do want to share with you 3 life lessons that have served me well over the years. And coincidentally, these lessons I learned when I was a student here at Jameswood High School. First one happened my senior year during an assembly that we had in the auditorium. And again, it's been 30 years, so I can't tell you who was speaking or what they were talking to us about, but I do remember this. They were giving away fantastic prizes. They were giving away t-shirts. The people on stage were giving away buttons we could put on our jean jackets. They were giving out stickers we could put on our Trapper Keepers. And they're giving out cassette tapes, brand new cassette tapes. And yes, I know I'm dating myself, but the prizes were just that fun. I get excited just reminiscing about it. I say they were free prizes. Let me back up a little bit. You had to actually earn these. And to earn these, you had to go up on stage and do something humiliating. Do something to embarrass yourself. So folks were going up on stage, and I still remember one student went up and hopped up and down on one leg and clucked like a chicken. Boom, you got your cassette tape. Somebody else went up and had to fake propose marriage to somebody in the crowd. They got their free t-shirt. Somebody else had to go up and dance like Milli Vanilli. Class of 2020, if you don't know who Milli Vanilli is, Google them and you can thank me later. People were doing this and having a great time up there. And I remember sitting next to a buddy of mine in the auditorium. We were watching the exact same scenario play out, and we had complete polar opposite reactions to what we were seeing. My buddy couldn't have been more excited. He was on cloud 9. He said, "Oh my gosh, we have a chance to get free stuff." I looked at him, I said, "My gosh, are you crazy, man? Look what you have to do to get this free stuff. You have to go embarrass yourself. You have to humiliate yourself. You know, I'm having a tough enough time getting a date here my senior year. I don't need any of this extra credit to humiliate myself this way." And we went back and forth and back and forth. He was talking about how great this was to get these free prizes. And all I was concentrated on was, my gosh, these people are humiliating themselves to do this. At the end of the day, my buddy walked away with some cool swag that he got up on stage. I walked away with nothing. And it wasn't until years and years later that I realized the significance of this moment. My buddy and I had both watched the same scenario play out, but we both focused on 2 different things. My friend focused on the opportunity. I focused on the obstacle. And I found that really in the world today, we end up, most of us, in one of 2 camps. Some of us out there make a career of focusing on the opportunities that are in front of us. Others, like I was back in 1990, choose to focus on the obstacles. I'm here to tell you right now, when you focus on the opportunities in your life, you will find them everywhere. They will be present every single day, and they will be larger than life. On the flip side of that coin, if you choose to focus on the obstacles in your life, you will also find those everywhere you look. And a lot of those will start to seem insurmountable. So you have the choice. Which lens do we want to look at life through? Do we want to see the opportunities, or do we want to see the obstacles? I'm here to implore you, it's your choice. Focus on the opportunities in your life. Second lesson I learned as a James Wood Colonel all those years ago, this lesson came from when I was serving detention one afternoon. Yes, I'm just as surprised as you that I got caught, but I was serving detention, and it was after school, and here's what was going on. While I was serving my detention, simultaneously there was another club that was celebrating. This club, and I can't remember what the award was now, but they had just won some national award. They had some notoriety, some achievement, and they were celebrating that win. So I was in the cafeteria during my detention. They were in a classroom on the other side of the building. I remember this distinctly, and I'll explain why in a second. I was basically the free caterer for the day. I would take the drinks and the snacks and walk them over to this party and let them continue their celebration, their well-deserved celebration. I would bring a tray of soft drinks, I'd bring a tray of chips and popcorn and candy bars, and they would continue the celebration. When they were done, I'd go get another tray and bring back to them. Well, they were really in celebration mood this day, and their pace of celebration was faster than I could keep up with them. So I'm running trays of food and drink to them as quickly as I could, but I just couldn't keep up. And finally, the teacher that had given me detention that day showed up, and she said, "Jay, how's it going?" And I explained to her, so I'm doing everything I can to keep up with this party, but they're outpacing me. She's like, "Well, you're just not using all your strength." Well, I took that as a personal jab. I said, what's she talking about? I'll show her how to use my personal strength. So instead of just carrying one tray, I started stacking 2 trays and carrying these. And I loaded these up. These weren't light. And I'm running these there, dropping them off, bringing things back. At this point, I'm sweating. I'm getting a little bit winded, but I'm using every bit of my strength. And I still can't keep up with the pace of this party. They're eating the snacks and they're drinking these soft drinks quicker than I can serve them. So fast forward about 15 minutes later, the teacher comes, checks on me again. I said, "Jay, how's it going?" I said, "I'm working as hard as I can." I said, "I just can't keep pace with the celebration." She said, "Well, I told you before, I'll tell you again, you're not using all your strength." And I said, "Okay, now it's personal." I said, "Here's what we're gonna do." I stacked the trays with soft drinks. I stacked trays on top of the soft drinks with soft drinks on top of those trays. And I'm lifting these things up like I'm some sort of Olympic power lifter. I'm holding these up, I'm walking them over across the school to the other room. And these are heavy. Now I'm sweating more profusely. My arms are trembling. I'm spilling a little bit of the drinks when I get there, but I'm doing my best. The teacher can't tell me I'm not using all my strength anymore. So I get back one final time. Teacher asked me, "How's it going?" And I said, "I can't keep up with the pace of this party. And before you say anything, yes, I'm using every bit of my strength." And she said, "No, you're not." I said, "Explain to me, how am I not using all of my strength?" She said, "You haven't asked me for help." And I said, "Okay, will you help me?" She said, "Sure." And she brought out a cart on wheels where we could put about 5 times as much as I was bringing every time and let me roll that to the party. And as angry as I was at that moment that she tried to turn this into a teachable moment and made me work so hard, I've never forgotten her words. I've never forgotten her words. Everyone that's hearing this right now, no matter where you are, know that you have strength. You are a strong individual, and you will rely on that strength in the next stage of your life and throughout. That strength may be physical, it may be mental, it may be psychological, it may be your personality, whatever it is. Your strength will help you to be a success in life. But your personal strength will only take you so far. Mr. Gross mentioned it earlier in the connect piece that you were talking about. There will come a time in your lives when you will need to rely on the strength of others. You will need to rely on others to complement your strengths, to encourage you, to empower you. And when you do that, you'll see what true success really is. It becomes compounded. And we can go further than we ever could on our own. So I'm here to remind you today, as you go forward in the next stage of your life, look for people that build you up. Look for people that make you stronger. Seek these people out to do life with. More importantly, strive to be a person that brings strength to other people's lives. Never, ever be afraid to ask anyone for help. And more importantly than that, never be afraid to offer your help as well. I'll share my last story with you, and we'll continue on with the celebration here. The last story, and probably the one that has stuck with me more than any of the other ones, came my senior year when I was running track. We had a track meet coming. Before I go any further, I loved James Wood sports. However, you will not find my name on the wall of fame inside there. I played several different sports, but the best way to describe me, the nicest way to describe my athletic prowess, was that I was a below average athlete. So it came as a surprise to me. Our first track meet, we had our home meet. We had several different schools visiting, so it was a big deal. And they told me I got to run the 440. Anybody that's familiar with track, you know that's just one lap around, one and done. That's the race. It's a big deal. People enjoy this one. I was kind of confused. I didn't know why I was selected to be one of our runners here, because I wasn't a star athlete. I wasn't the fastest one on the team. I wasn't even what you considered in shape at the time, but I was out there running the 440. So I said, hey, this is my moment. This is an opportunity. I'm going to give this mile. Not only am I going to win this race, I'm going to set a new James Wood record here. So I went out there, the gun went off, and I took off running. And before I hit the first turn, I was about 20 yards ahead of everyone else. And in my mind, I just knew the coaches were over there calling colleges and calling the recruiters and saying, hey, come take a look at this kid. I got through the halfway mark, and the people behind me were like ants. They were so far behind. This was my day. But before I go any further, this is an absolutely true story, and there are hundreds of people out there that can verify this. I get to the third turn. All I have to do is finish this one strip right here, and it's done. And all of a sudden, my one arm starts to do this. And I've lost control of one arm. Then all of a sudden, this arm starts doing its own thing. Coincidentally, this is exactly what it looks like when I dance. But I'm doing this, I'm running, I'm trying to finish it off, and one leg starts to give out. So I'm running, and all of a sudden the other leg gives out. I'm doing one of these numbers, and before I know it, I fall flat on the track in the final 100 yards, and I can't move. I'm paralyzed for a few minutes. My mind had told me to go places that my body wasn't prepared to take me. So I'm laying there, and all I can do is lay there and watch these different shoes fly past me as everyone else finishes the race. And it was probably 15, 20 seconds. It felt like minutes or hours, but I finally was able to get up, dust myself off, and I was, whatever I had left, I was pretty humiliated. I tried to walk off the track just to have this thing behind me. And our track coach came out and he said, no, you finished the race. So I'm trying to have a conversation with the coach right in the middle of the track with everyone watching. I said, Coach, this has been embarrassing enough. Just let me out of here. Save whatever dignity I've left. He said, no, you finished the race. And I said, why? This just doesn't make any sense. And I've never forgotten his words. He said, it's okay to stumble, but it's not okay to stop. He said, you finished the race. We'll deal with this tomorrow. So I finished the race and went on. But that has become just a microcosm for what I feel one of life's greatest lessons is. It's okay to stumble. We will all stumble. Stumbling is inevitable. Stopping is our choice. If you've committed to something, if you have a dream that you're chasing, whatever it may be, see it through to the end. Never quit. Never stop. Because here's what happens, and I can tell you this from experience. The first time you quit something, the first time you stop something, guess what? It's a heck of a lot easier to do it a second time. And it's even easier to do it a third time. And before you know it, you have a track record of a whole laundry list of items that you've never accomplished. If you stay true to your goal, no matter how hard it is, it's okay to stumble. It's okay to fall down and to get back up. But whatever you do, make that commitment today as you start the rest of your lives out there, 2020 graduates. Make it your life's mission to never, ever stop. That's how success happens. The folks that don't stop are the ones that succeed. It's as simple as a formula as that. I hope you take that to heart. Class of 2020, James Wood Colonels, the future is yours. Go out there and contribute to the world whatever gifts you have to offer, and every one of you has unique gifts to offer. Practice empathy and discernment. Know that God loves you and He has big plans for you to do great things. Whatever the next steps in your journey in life are, go out there, give it your all, and continue to make us proud. God bless you, and thank you.
Good evening. I am Michaela Grumbacher, and I am the current 2019-2020 Student Council Association President. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of the wonderful teachers, administrators, and staff at James Wood High School for your continued hard work and support of not only myself, but the entire student body. The collective teamwork that is exemplified each and every day is completely inspiring and amazing to see, especially during these unprecedented times. John Quincy Adams once said, "If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader." Although he was speaking about leadership, this idea can also be applied in a much larger context, life. We are all given challenges and obstacles to overcome. The class of 2020 has been dealt many challenges. We are born in the aftermath of 9/11, and today we graduate in the face of this pandemic. It is in this moment that we are left with the choice to either do something and make life better, or to sit back and wait for someone else to do it. Instead of focusing on what you cannot change, focus on how fortunate we are to have reached this important milestone. We are fortunate to have been able to make incredible memories at James Wood. For some of us, it was going to homecoming with our friends, sitting in a loud crowd during a game, or participating in a school musical. Whatever memories we have created belong to us, regardless of the situation or circumstance. They cannot be taken away from us. As Jessica Lang said, be present. I would encourage you all with all my heart just to be present. Be present and open to the moment that is unfolding before you. Because ultimately, your life is made up of moments. So don't miss them by being lost in the past or anticipating the future. I encourage each and every member of the class of 2020 to soak up these once-in-a-lifetime memories, just as you have throughout all of your school years. I would like to invite Kendall Cresswell to join the podium. Kendall, as you take on your new position next year, I encourage you to find ways to inspire others, encourage the student body to become active in their school community, and lead by example as to what it means to be a James Wood Colonel. Next year, when it is your turn to graduate, you will remember the hours of work you put into planning and decorating for homecoming, pep rallies, spirit days, and football game spirit giveaways. Remember that what you do matters, but how you do it matters more. Your ability to find ways to connect with fellow colonels of all ages, listen to them, and include them will allow you an opportunity to keep the traditions of James Wood High School alive. I wish you the best of luck next year. Congratulations to you and the class of 2020. We made it. I now welcome the senior class president, Alexandra Smith, to the podium.
During the past 3 years as class president, I have worked alongside my fellow class officers, sponsors, students, and faculty to improve and provide for this beautiful school, and I hope you will continue to do the same. In passing down this gavel, I am entrusting you with the responsibility of leading the senior class of 2021. I am confident in your ability to become a humble and considerate leader whose main goal is to steer your fellow classmates in the direction of a brighter future. It is with great honor that I relinquish my role as class president before moving on to the next chapter of my life. Congratulations, Jeremiah, and good luck.
Now for the presentation of graduates, I would like to turn the program over to Assistant Principal, Mr. Mike Boland.
Preston Adams. Jonathan Addison. Samuel Adkins, Matthew Alderman, Victoria Alamong, Dantes Allen, Laura Allen, Melissa Alvarado, Samatson Angel Perez, Nathaniel Arce, Eleanor Armel, Seth Atkins, Caleb Baker, William Baker, Lacey Baker McGee, Emily Bartholomew, Caitlin Bennington, Carson Bias, Olivia Biggs, Thomas Bodmer, Alan Bonenkamp, Jeremy Borer, Emma Bowman, Abigail Brannon, Devin Brannon, Catherine Bright, Kevin Brown, Madison Brown, Stephen Brown, Haley Bryant, Lauren Burrows, Anthony Campbell, Aaron Campbell, Stephanie Conchanya, Timothy Carico, Susanna Carter, Vincent Caruso, Ryan Castle, Zachary Cave, Alexandra Cherrier, Alana Clark, Allison Clark, Garrett Clark, Garrett Clark, Kristen Cody, Hannah Cohen, Casey Conklin, Colby Cook, Daniel Copenhaver III, James Cornwell, Isaiah Cortez, Catherine Costin, Harrison Craig, Lydia Craig, Cole Creamer, Madison Krim, William Crowder Jr., Dominic Cuccia, Hayden Cunningham, Savannah Cunningham, Caitlin Dollinger, Fareed Dan Othman, John Dar, Jonathan Davitt, Thomas Davis Jr., Alicia Dean, Sophia Dean, Kyle DeHaven, Trevor DeMay, Taylor Dennis, James Denton, Abigail DeWine, Salem Diaz, Trent Dickey, Caitlin Dolly, Paul Ebersol, Aaron Edwards, Cole Elliott, Luke Esparza, Trevor Feathers, Lydia Ferruli, Michaela Firebaugh, Matthew Flaxenberg, James Fletcher, Skylar Flood, James Foster, Jonathan Foster, Brady Frashure, Lavon Freeman, Laura Fulton, Kayla Gankowitz, Jasmine Garcia, Chloe Geary, Josiah Gieslin, Morgan Jermeyer, Natalie Gladue, Ashton Glasscock, Richard Goodwin III, Skylar Grady, David Gray Jr., Stedman Green, Jacob Gregg, Michaela Grumbacher, Jared Haynes, Erica Hare, Thomas Halbert, Zoe Harlow. Easton Harner. Nathan Heath. Maggie Heischman. America Hernandez Ortiz. Susan Hicks. Autumn Hill. Carson Hoberg. Tamira Holly. Rachel Hoover. Audrey Hoddle. Faith Hovermail. Robert Hudson. Adriana Hughes. Dennis Humane III. Luke Hurley. Lillian Hutchins. Emily James. Danielle Jaquez. Madison Jenkins. Trenton Jenkins. Drew Johnson. Mia Johnson. Yasmin Kalish Kyler. Macy Carabin. Dayton Keffer. Savannah Keller. Britton Kelly. Timothy Kennedy. Jennifer Kearns. Ricky Kearns. James King. Simeon Kite. Mackenzie Conyer. Hannah Labrie. Logan Lale. Carson Lanham. Reagan Lanham. Kristen Lanza. Mackenzie Largent. Abigail LaShault. Emma Locke. Thais Lazo Arana. Cheyenne Lease. Eliza Lehman. Cameron Lemons. Peyton Lilly. Dylan Linneberg. Michaela Lockett. Isaiah Lockhart. Patricia Long. Jackson Lynch. Allison Magner. Abigail Mayer. Carl Malone. Leanna Malone. Max Mancini. Daria Mann. Sierra Marino. Kaylee Marple. Caleb Martinelli. Robert Mason. Elijah Mattingly. Jerome McCarthy. Tyrone McCarthy. Dylan McCarty. Mackenzie McCarty. Chase McCubbin. Michael McGeechee. Logan McLaurin. Kendra Membrano. Magali Mendoza. Amber Messick. Cody Miller. Dakota Miller. Damian Miller. Haley Miller. Kinsey Miller. Hunter Minnick. Amber Mitchell. Garrett Mitchell. Nathaniel Montaigne. Jenna Morel. Joaquin Morse. Sarah Molden. Nathaniel Mullen. Kelly Myers. Emma Newcomb. Ethan Newcomb. Camden Newland. Timothy Nolan. Matthew Norris. Victoria O'Neill. Hunter O'Neill. Reed O'Rourke. Haven Oaks. Thomas Oates. Benjamin Ondeck. Jacob Owens. Mark Owens. Braden Patterson Campbell. Erica Pavon Robles. Haley Pico. Matthew Pennington. Haley Perez. Mayori Perez Gonzalez. Mark Perkins. Evan Peterman. Morgan Petrie. Mallory Phillips. Kendall Pierce. Logan Pierce. Mike Pierre. Benjamin Pingley. Avery Pitcock. Hannah Plasters. Chancelyn Potenzo. Kyle Pritt. Brenna Prunty. Bryce Pugh. Jacelyn Queen. Jeffrey Curion. Miriam Ramirez Santiago. Addison Rathel. Madison Rathman. Drew Reese. Robert Renner Jr. Alexandra Renard. Desiree Richards. Micah Richards. Gabriel Rickard. Gabriel Ricketts. Bailey Riggleman. Braden Ritchie. Caden Ritter. Claire Ritz. Jacob Rivera. Kaylee Rock. Jared Romero. Maria Rosales Rivera. Kristen Rose. Ivy Rosenberry. Hunter Rowe. Natalie Rowe. Ethan Russell. Michaela Russell. David Salvador Santiago. Sydney Sanchez de Lozada Bully. Blake Sandy. Nicholas Sanelli. Vincent Sanford. Kylie Sater. Benjamin Sopp. Bailey Seville. Austin Schmidt. Ella Schnorr. Leo Shopik. Dylan Searfoss. Brianna Sensini. Chloe Shade. Nathan Shade. Amira Shanholtz. David Shanholtz. Zion Sheik. Tyler Shell. Jason Sherman Jr. Olivia Schick. Ashley Shiflett. Alexis Shingleton. Frederica Sigurdorator. Yakimian Sims. Jalen Sign. Bradley Scions. Jackson Sitton. Alexandra Smith. Carmen Smith. Stephanie Smith. Trey Snyder. Zachary Snyder. Benjamin Solomon. James Solosky. Sarah Summers. Kyle Spear. Chloe Spicer. Faith Spinks. Alexis Spurlock. Emma Stover. Garrett Strong. Clay Swanner. Afton Sykes. William Terenzi. Kelly Thompson. Rebecca Thompson. Janiel Toledo Ramos. Allison Toth. Sarah Trobert. Jackson Turner. Tori Turner. Joseph Unruh Jr. Wyatt Upperman. Mary Vanover. Adam Venom Carter. Courtney Vreeland. Zachary Wagner. Angelina Walters. Scott Ward. Caitlin Warren. Dustin Watkins. Jacob Watts. Christina Weber. Trevor Welsh. Cassidy Whalen. Joshua Wetzel. Lucas Whitaker. Nathan White. Nathaniel Williams. Victoria Williams. Kaylee Williamson. Jetta Willingham. Brendan Wilson. Victoria Wingfield. Madison Wood. Ryan Woodley. Ethan Wright. Kelsey Wright. Cleo Yatris. Natalie Youngblood.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've now reached the moment that we're all waiting for. Dr. Savine, members of the school board, faculty and staff, honored guests, family and friends, with the authority entrusted to me by the Frederick County Public School System and the Virginia Department of Education, I present to you the James Wood Class of 2020.